Coming right up on Addicted to Gear, we're taking a look at the Flamma FX100 multi-effects unit. Hey guys, for those of you who are in the market for a really good, affordable multi-effects unit, there's no better time than now to snag some of these units that are on the market. They're popping up all over the place. Today I'm taking a look at the Flamma FX100. Now this unit costs only about $159, and that's pretty much what you would pay for one boutique pedal, and that's just one sound, where you can have a host of sounds at your disposal in one small compact unit that is easy to program and is made quite well. I have to say, compared to some other units that I've tried, this one seems to be built quite durably. Now, beyond the 200 patches that are built into this unit, you also have an expression pedal that can be used as a volume. It can be used as a wah. You can use it for a couple of different things. You also have a built-in looper with this. You have a drum machine built into it as well. A very compact display, but it's a color display. Built-in tuner. Very simple in terms of layout, and what I like most about it is it's not cluttered and it won't take you a month to understand how it works. It's pretty straightforward and easy to use. Now the unit comes with two foot switches here, a couple of knobs, and a couple of rubberized buttons that you can use to toggle through the selection menu. In this small display here that you see that is color, you can actually program your sounds, you could toggle through them all, and you can set up the unit for whatever application you want to use it for. Now, for such a small unit, you have all of the outputs and inputs that you would need for basic functionality. That includes an aux in, an input, left mono, and right output, phone input for headphones, a USB port, and an OTG port as well, which would allow you to do recording straight to your smartphone, which that is quite interesting. I haven't tried it, but that's a nice option to have as well. And of course, you have the power input. Now the unit itself seems to be very well made. You have a metal chassis, you have an expression pedal that seems to be sturdy enough that it won't fall apart if you hit it too hard. The way the actual unit is made, there's a little indentation here so it protects the screen from your foot so you won't accidentally step on it and crack the screen. And you have two standard switches here that you can use to toggle up and down your settings, as well as option for clicking in the looper that you have built in, as well as the onboard tuner. And so you basically have everything you need in a small device to grab and go and basically be ready for your next gig or little recording session that you might want to do at home. Definitely can use this for producing some really nice recordings as well. So what I really like about these units is the ability to interface with the software editing tools that they come bundled with, or that you can download directly from their websites. So we're going to take a look at this particular one and show you what you can actually do with the software. We're going to play through some sounds, some clean sounds, some dirty sounds, and I'm just going to show you some of the options that are included with the software. Because let's face it, once you have the unit in your hands, you don't really want to be editing on this little screen. Most of us would prefer to be working on a nice full-size color monitor so we can get all of the elements right there in front of us and be able to punch in all of the great tones that we want to use with the device and hear it through our DAW or through our headphones. And it's all WYSIWYG, so it makes it really nice and easy to use. All right, so let's take a look at the software that is bundled with the FX100. I think most of you will probably enjoy using the software to program your sounds and optimize the unit, as opposed to scrolling in and out of the menu with the three silver buttons that are on the unit itself. I think you have a lot more flexibility and you can actually do it a lot quicker by the software. So that's what we're going to be talking about a little bit more today. On the left-hand side here under the preset menu, you'll see that you have a very Nice palette of sounds. You actually have 200 programmed sounds in the unit, so you should not be wanting for sounds that is not actually provided by the unit. There's a lot to choose from. We're going to be looking at a couple of these sounds, and I'm going to be giving you my input on them as well. So the first thing I want to do is actually tune my guitar, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is not to waste your time. It's to point something out. So if you want to tune your guitar up with this unit, you have to click on the left button on the unit itself, the actual switch. So if you press the switch and go into tuner mode, you see that the software doesn't actually change. So the tuner is not activated within the software, which is a little bit of a bummer for me. I prefer to be able to see what I'm tuning. I'm going to go ahead and tune my guitar while I'm talking to you, and you can see that you don't hear anything. The tuner is actually on mute mode right now, so you're not going to be able to hear it except from what's being picked up from my microphone. So I just want to point this out. The tuner does not show up in the software when you're trying to tune your guitar. So that could be a drawback for some people. However, the tuner on the unit seems to work very well and is very legible. So there's that. All right. So I'm going to get out of the tuner mode right now. We're going to actually go into a couple of stock sounds here. I'm just going to pick random stuff here. I'm not really going to, I haven't really tailored the sounds or anything. I'm just going and clicking on something random. Now, one thing you're going to notice when you're clicking on a preset, if you modified anything, it's going to tell you that you actually are going to be losing that modification if you don't save it, right? So I'm not going to be saving that. I'm just going to be using stock presets here. So let's look at power chord. Nice power guitar sound. I feel that with this particular unit, the actual driven sounds are the best part. I think there's a lot of nice things that are being offered in terms of the dirty tones. Let's look at this tap delay here. So you can hear it has a nice just to see what type of delay they're actually using. I almost guessed it. It's a tape delay. I was going to say either a tape or an analog delay, but you definitely get that nice warm delay sound there. Very nice. Let's go back to the actual presets here. Let's pick something a little different. Let's look at Fusion Lead. Let's look at that. So let's go into something a little different here. Let's take another, the muff lead. Let's see how dirty that gets. Definitely getting some of that muff dirt there. I like that a lot. Let's look at something with a flanger. I like flange. I like that. Very nice flange tone. Let's look at something a little bit, maybe we can, I don't know what running is, but let's take a look. Pretty clean. When I say clean, I mean there's not much modulation or delay or reverb on that sound, so it's mostly just drive. Let's look at take something a little bit different here. There's a sweet chorus. Let's look at the clean. That's a nice, very nice chorus sound. So that's where you actually get to appreciate these units, is how well they actually alternate between the clean sounds and the drive sounds. So if we go into sweet drive, a lot of air around this particular sound. You can hear the delay, you can hear the reverb, makes the sound much bigger. And if we take the next one down, which is sweet lead, interesting, I like that. Let's just try a couple more, and then we're going to go into the sounds themselves, and we're going to be maybe seeing what kind of options we have in there. Time Machine. So you're almost getting a slicer type sound with this, very reminiscent to some Pink Floyd sounds that they had. Interesting. I like that. Let's go into the Mark IV drive. Definitely sounds nice and fat, if you ask me. So let's look at one more, and then we're going to go into the sounds here. Let's actually take maybe something a little bit more vintagey. They have 900 lead, which I'm assuming is a JCM 900 Marshall. So let's maybe stay on that particular sound and look at some of the options that we have with the actual module. So at the top of the software here, you're going to see that we have effects, comp, DSOD, amp, cab, noise gate, EQ, modulation, delay, and reverb. So each one of these are the options that you have to build your sound. Right now you can see that we do have something engaged here. For the compressor, we're using a yellow comp. You can tell that because the actual icon here is lit up. When the icon is not lit up or grayed out, that means it's not engaged. You can also see that there's a little switch here. And if I toggle that switch off, then the icon becomes gray. If you toggle it on, then it's part of your signal chain. So we're going to leave the compressor on. On the right-hand side here, you can see we have the attack level, the threshold, the ratio, and the level. All that is very important to use when you want to build up your sounds. We can see that the gain is coming all through the amp itself. There's no actual overdrive engaged. If I turn up the gain, you can hear how saturated it becomes. We can also play with the master volume here. So you can hear how the gain is represented through the amp itself. Of course, we can always throw an overdrive or a distortion pedal on top of that. But for the time being, let's stick with this particular sound and let's just play around with this and see what we can do. So the cabinet that we're using here is a 1960 4x12 cabinet. You also have the selection of using another 26 type of cabinet simulations, as well as a few empty slots where you can actually put in your own IRs. So you have the choice of using your own sounds if you wish, which I think is really cool. Now this particular unit is using a sort of a vintagey type cabinet, but let's switch that over to a rectifier 412. We should have more thump. Let's go to a Mark 112. So you can hear the difference there. Let's go into Dr. Z 1x12. So obviously the 1964 by 12 to me is the best choice here. So let's stick with that. Obviously the noise gate is your best friend whenever you're using a lot of gain. I'll turn off the noise gate and show you how much noise you're dealing with. There's actually not that much, but if you throw in a overdrive pedal, let's just do that for fun. Let's put in an obsessive distortion here. Let's just turn that on. All right, now you can hear how much noise that's generating. Quite a bit more. Let's turn on the noise gate. And look how beautifully it takes care of that. Now you can always play with the attack, the release, and the threshold so that it cuts off where you want it to be. You could bring that further down and optimize your sound. But if you're definitely using an overdrive pedal in your chain, you will want to have the noise gate engaged. In this particular case, we'll turn it off. Doesn't seem that we need it all that much. Let's leave it at that. Now here we also have an EQ engage, which is the metal EQ. That's what we're using on this patch. Let's turn that off. So it definitely highlights some of the upper frequencies. Seems to tighten up the sound a little bit as well. Let's turn on, let's play around with some modulation effects. We can see here that we have about 19 type of modulation effects. I'm going to just walk you through a couple of them. So we have, let's turn this on. We have a phaser. Okay, now the rate on this one is not very high. Let's turn that up a bit. Now you can definitely hear that. All right, let's maybe play around with a clean sound so that you can hear some of these effects a little bit better. Let's, well, you know what? Let's just demo a few more of these sounds here, and then we'll demo a couple of clean sounds as well. So let's hear what the stutter sound has. This one reminds me a little bit of that Pink Floyd sound on Run Like Hell, which is pretty nice. I like that. Really cool thing that we can play with there. Let's look at the rotary sound. Keep in mind, guys, that I'm playing this through the mono output, so you're not going to get the full 3D effect, but it'll still give you an idea. Interesting sound like that. Let's look at the flanger. Everybody loves flange, don't they? Let me just change the volume on this. Go down to a chorus clean. All right, and now let's go back and choose the vibrato here. You can hear that going out of tune there. And you can play with the depth. And we can also do a tri-chorus. Now, since there's already quite a few clean sounds programmed into here, you can choose the one that actually works best with that particular effect. Let's turn this on here. So you can see that there is quite a few options that you can use. You can also go into lo-fi, slow gear. Lo-fi is somewhat odd. Let's go to slow gear, high pass, and we can also use detune for some nice, interesting effects. Something like an 80s lead, maybe. All right, so let's look at the delay effects here. Now, you have about 9 different delay effects, everything from digital to dual delay, ping pong, reverse, all kinds of interesting features here. So if you play with reverse, let's put in the level a little bit higher here. And so I'm just gonna hit the string and make you hear what it sounds like. So you definitely have interesting options. So the dynamic delay will kick in louder as you pick harder. Let's go into the tape delay, one of my favorites. And this is basically the subdivide option here. So and the time is relatively low, but we can go a lot higher. I usually like to keep it quite low, bring the feedback up a little bit. Give it a little bit more air. Let's try out real. Ping pong. All right, now once again, I'm not using a stereo in for these effects, so you're only going to get part of the 3D sensation. But if you actually will use a stereo out, you're probably going to get much nicer 3D sounds. Very nice. I like the delays on this unit a lot. Now let's talk about the reverb. The reverb, we left this for last, okay? Reverb, in my opinion, is kind of where the unit Achilles heel is. They give you 7 different types of reverbs. They're not terrible, but if you listen carefully, you'll see that when you dial up any of the levels on the reverbs, you get a kind of a tinny sound. I don't know if you can hear that. Let me switch to another one here. So, they're, like I said, they're not terrible, but I would... If they ever do any updates, I'd love to see a little bit more effort put into the type of reverbs that they offer. If you look at the spring, for example, let me just bring the levels down to a more reasonable level. You can also play with the tone. All right, guys, so what do I think about this multi-effects unit? Honestly, at $159, it's really hard to beat. I'm not quite sure how much cheaper these multi-effects units could get, but for $159, you have the tuner, you have the looper, you have the drum machine, you have the tap tempo, you have the expression pedal that doubles as a wah, you have, built-in slots for additional IRs. There's so many things you can do with this unit. It's getting hard to determine where you're going to put the next $159, but if it's for me, I honestly spend it on a multi-effects unit as opposed to one specific pedal, because you have so much versatility built into this, whether you're using it to record at home, possibly jam with your buddies, or even have it on your pedal board with a couple of standalone pedals to squeeze the most out of it. I think you can't go wrong. So I'm going to post the link to this pedal on the comment section below. Do yourself a favor, check it out. I'm honestly endorsing this pedal because this multi-effects unit, because I feel that you really can't go wrong at this price point, and it's a great time for anybody to be in the market for a multi-effects unit. So check it out, do yourself that favor. That's it, guys. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Addicted to Gear. If you want to support my channel, please subscribe. Don't forget to hit the little bell icon so you'll be notified whenever I post the next great video. So stay tuned, guys. More stuff coming up right here just for you.